Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, and everything in between. I mean, there's a lot of those out there now, aren't there? Do we have to start this way? How we doing out there on a Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Operation Status Quo. I am Pete Palma. I am your user-friendly host, broadcasting live from the comfy confines of my very own home. Yes, indeed. And of course, this is Operation Status Quo. And if you don't know this already, I don't know what to say. It means you haven't been here before, but this is the place where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life. And then, of course, we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. And that's what we do here in this life, is we just try to live true to our hearts the best we can and mitigate this crazy world out there and not let everything bring us down too much. It's all ebbs and flows, right? You know, I talk about this a lot as far as, what this life is. I know I get a little bit esoteric and such, metaphysical, whatever you want to say, as far as the grand scheme of our existence and the energies thereof within, but of course here in our physical reality, we are living within, the confines of what that entails, right? So that's why here on Operation Status Quo, we want to just remember to give ourselves space to just observe what's going on in the world and not get too crazy about what's happening as far as, attachment and fear and things like that. And to know that we have the power to choose the life that we want to live, whatever that means for us. We don't have to be kind of like slaves to the system. And before I get started today on this topic that I'm doing today, but just to piggyback quickly on yesterday when I was talking about all that stuff, as far as, I was talking about accepting each other and knowing that we're all in different places in a sense in this reality, and everyone has their path and such, and I was, I always try to really keep a lot of space of not being, too much one way in a way. Like, I really do believe the things that I believe, and I'm very passionate about it. And that's one of the reasons, I do this show. It's one of the reasons I might say things and it sounds like I'm being snarky or tongue in cheek when I talk about the pandemic or I talk about, politics or any of that type of thing. But it's really because I care about people, and I feel we all deserve to live our best lives. I feel we all deserve honest, true freedom, and when I was talking about that person from the yoga studio yesterday, and if you haven't seen it, you can go back and watch, but basically, we had a conversation with this woman, and I realized from her comments, where she stood on some of her political or whatever, just beliefs in general. And the thing that always gets me with all this stuff is just, I don't understand how people accept it or don't see it. I mean, I don't know what to say, as far as, anybody who believes that our government is really, cares about us or is doing anything with any level of competence whatsoever, for people who just blatantly believe whatever our history books say about how even our, the world wars, everything, how they actually transpired, and people who don't see bigger agendas at play and think all these things are happening haphazardly. I don't understand that personally, but I don't want to always be too much in one way of, trying to, because I understand that it gets so divided with, some of this quote unquote conspiracy stuff, but I don't think it's conspiracy. I think it's more awakening and just seeing other perspectives and realizing that there's truths that we don't know. So why get mad at each other over different political beliefs, different just whatever. I know it's the political thing right now is really the biggest thing, and that's really what divides everybody so much. But this whole woke thing, and these people screaming and yelling all the time. And then, the right side is sometimes too, is, everybody's got their guns and they're ready to rock and roll. I just think it's like too much, both ways. I just think, quite honestly, plain and simple, I'm a person that just loves people. I like to have fun. I like to laugh. I think everybody likes that, right? So, I mean, why we put all this pressure on ourselves and to fight against each other with these polarized ideas that are so they're so in depth and expansive and keep us apart, so much, when in reality we all at heart want the same things, and I think, and again, just to bring it back and wrap this part up, that's what the world's coming to. We need to get back to focusing on one another and building our communities together and realizing we're all humans and giving each other space and love in whatever capacity that can be, that works best. I mean, not everybody's going to be best friends, but you know what I mean? We can always give a level of space and compassion instead of, holding on to ideas that are keeping us separated. And no matter what side of anything you're on, why would you want to give your power away to a particular belief system, whether it be religious or political or, a personality, whatever? Like, give all your power away to that as opposed to actually working with the people who are right there with you. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of how I see it. So, I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm too much, pushing certain things. And then sometimes I feel like I back off too much, but the truth is, like, cause I always remember that this life is the dream. And that's what I was trying to say yesterday. And it's the basic point of all that from yesterday is that, this life is the dream, and everybody's here for the purposes that need to be. Everything that's happening in this world is happening for the purposes that need to be, whether we understand it or not, no matter what it seems like. And if we can just have a little bit of that, understanding and a base point, then we all can work together and really create a life that's, not just like sit around and do nothing all day, but we can really do productive things and really just enjoy each other as enjoy our physicality, enjoy our earth, enjoy, instead of this like debt-based system that keeps us, slaves and trapped all the time. So anyway, that's it from yesterday, but that does lead into what I'm talking about today, actually, ladies and gentlemen. And today is the 12th of December in the good year 2023. And today's program is entitled Social Needia. Yeah, Social Needia, because it's not media, it's Needia. The need to be online all the time and post every last little thing you're doing. What kind of brought me to this thought process was, this is not anything new. We all realize this in a sense, right? How many people do you know out there where you see with you know them in real life and how they are, and then you see what they post, online, and you say like, I don't know. I think this person's being a fraud a little bit, maybe, right? Like, they might have a certain behavior, certain aspects of behavior, but they always want to put themselves forth in a different way, online. So, and that's just human. See, okay, it's human. That's human behavior, right? Because everybody wants to be accepted. We all have a social need to be accepted. But I find it so fascinating because, this social need for all of us to connect and be accepted has been usurped, really, right? It's been usurped by the powers that be. That's how, even when they came up with Facebook and all that type of stuff. And for those who, don't realize, and here I am going down one of those little bit of the, for lack of a better term, conspiracy roads, but whatever you want to say, you can research it yourself. DARPA, the CIA, these types of organizations, they created these social media platforms, right? It wasn't, what the frig's his name from Facebook? I can't believe his name is slipping my mind, but it's not him. He wasn't working at the college and he came up with a do. That's just the story that they put forth, because this is a program done purposely to separate people. And I've spoken on this before. If you think about it, it goes like little by little over generations, over time. It started with bringing the TV into the house, back in the late 40s when that came out, and all of a sudden people had this transition in life where, wow, there's a box in the house that a picture comes on and we can sit around it and look at it, right? And it started simple with just, a couple shows, blah, blah, blah. It was a big deal, right? And then I can't believe I'm forgetting, what the hell's his name? Zuckerberg. It was driving me crazy. Mark Zuckerberg. Couldn't even think of who was from Facebook. But anyway, and they started slowly with, with that. And then it turned into, just a few shows, turned into 24, most of the day programming. Then maybe the TV would go off like overnight, and then it became 24/7 programming. And then it became all of a sudden cable, and you got multiple channels, and, it just kept growing. Then you have one TV in the neighborhood, and everybody has a TV. Then everybody's got two TVs, right? And little by little, it just builds. The same thing with the phone, back in my grandmom's day when they had just like one line in the neighborhood, and my grandma would always say, give the kid would come down to knock on the door. You give the kid a nickel to tell you got a phone call. call, down at the corner store, and you go down, and then that developed into like a party line, which was, the houses, and you would just pick up the phone. If somebody's on it, you hang it up and you wait till they're off, and everybody takes their turns kind of thing, to everybody having their own individual line in their house. Imagine how great that was for those people back in that time when that first happened. If you were coming off of like, you had to go to the corner store to get a phone call, or if you had a party line, now all of a sudden you have your own line. Wow, my own phone number and my own line in my house, right? That's like, and it's little by little this programming, right, to implement these type of technologies to get people used to this stuff. And then the computers came out. The computers were obviously, and they started coming out. And then it went to the personal computers, and people have a computer in their house. That's another big deal. Then the computer, then they take it and they turn it into the computer and the phone, together. Starts with a phone. Again with the phone. Phone's in your hand. You have your own line in your house. Then it becomes like a wireless phone, right? Then it went to wireless phones where you can just walk around your house without the cord, right? And next thing you know, we go onto these mobile phones. Before we even had the internet connected to it or anything, but we had mobile phones where you can be out and you can make calls right wherever you are. And then the smartphone comes up, and here now you have connection to the internet, a whole computer in your hand, and then from there, and little by little, they just kind of take people off the track of togetherness, and the same thing with social media. It's a way to manipulate, and I just see like so much, especially, with the younger generations, like it just seems like people are, and I'm not criticizing the younger generation. I mean, right, they were brought up with this stuff. If I was that age and brought up with the technology, I would have been doing the same thing, right? I was doing whatever was the technology in my time. I was playing the Atari 2600. That's what came out when I was a kid, So now they got whatever play box, Xbox, PlayStation nonsense. God knows, right? You just now you get the Oculus 2 and the other shit you put on your face, and you're in a whole nother world. And all this stuff, like, it's not about, like, technology's fun, right? I mean, it's cool to have like gadgets and like, wow, look how neat that is and how real that looks or whatever. But then everybody just becomes like sucked into that vacuum of space instead of, no one's talking about building local communities and stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that social media can be used for building communities and connecting with others, but let's just think about like the basics of it. People always want to put the picture of, they just went to Mount Everest and they're halfway up the mountain. Here I am, half frozen, climbing up Mount Everest. Oh, here I am 10 minutes later over here. Here I am just about to fall over into Niagara Falls or the Grand Canyon. How many of those stories of people who like fell over the railings trying to get selfies of themselves at the Grand Canyon or places like that, and they fall fall over and die worrying about getting like a selfie, but more so than that, I think it's the emotional part of it, because going back to our basic need of humanity and the connection that we really want to have with people, we've been so put into the technology over time. And on top of it, not just how these younger generation is kind of put into the technology, but because life has always been so busy, because our system is such a fraud and forces families apart, right? I mean, I'm all about, listen, anybody who watches me regularly, I have nothing bad to say about anybody. I totally think everybody's 100% equal. We should all have the same rights, privileges, everything. Man, woman, race, religion, it doesn't matter, right? But, the whole women's movement, I think that too is like done by the powers that be in a way that was designed, they take the idea that women should be free, which they should be free anyway from before. Like, it shouldn't even have to be like you have to get to this point, right? Just, you know what I mean? That's how crazy it is to me. You shouldn't even have to make a campaign to like, oh, I think women should be equal to men. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, we are all equal to begin with. So I don't even understand where it has to come from that way. But, that's why society designed in some of those type of ways. Then they can take the idea of, women's rights and women's lib and, and manipulate it, just like they manipulate social media and manipulate it to, actually help in their agenda of tearing families apart more. So now you have like a lot of split parents, and you have parents working multiple jobs. Nobody's there with the kids, but guess who's there for your kids? Oh, there it is. It's the phone. It's the phone and the social media and all the apps and, Facebook. I know the younger people don't use Facebook as much, but whatever, Instagram or TikTok, whatever, the kids, whatever newfangled app these kids are using these days, but And that becomes like the source of their connection, because there is no community to build, because everybody's rushing all around trying to, prove their independence, trying to prove their worth, with titles and jobs. And, it's a crazy dynamic. Again, like I like social media in the effect of being able to, communicate with people that you don't see regularly and everything like that. You still can be in touch. There's a lot of people I've made friends with on social media. I've never even met them in person. Never even talked to a lot of them, but they're, through different groups that are like-minded. I'm friends with them, on Facebook, and see their posts, and they comment, I comment, back and forth, blah blah blah, a little bit here or there. But to the idea of, I guess the idea I'm saying is mostly is that it's a shame, because it's handicapped people emotionally and socially, because everybody's trying to put themselves as a certain image on social media to get adulation, to get attention, just to get some sort of love. It's so deep down, right? I mean, that's what it is. It's somebody just trying to be heard, just trying to be recognized, just trying to be, loved. But it's not used in that way. It's used really in a way of tearing people apart. And just plenty of studies that have been done that show, like, the more time you spend on those type of sites or apps, whatever you want to say, it actually makes people more depressed and feel worse about themselves. I mean, if you're scrolling through and everybody looks like, you're by yourself or something, you're scrolling through and here's everybody with their Christmas pictures of the family together and boo, and you think, oh, my life sucks and look how beautiful everybody else is. But, and the truth is, and again, everybody's just trying to put their best self forth, right? They just want to be accepted. They just want to be loved. So, they create an image like this. They create this online image as opposed to just really authentically being themselves. Think about how much work that is, like, of worrying about how you're going to put yourself out there to be accepted by people that you don't even know. It's like, and no one really wants to even take the time to get to know you in that environment in a way, because how many times you put something up on social media that's a contrary point to something that someone else believes, and it becomes like a whole argument, or you get chastised, or you get unfriended, or, all this, type of thing. And because I know myself, like on Facebook, I used to say a lot more things in different ways. I try to make it, what the messages I put up now, I just really want it to be more, positive in general, make people think a little bit, more like memes and quotes and such. I'll put a little something here or there. But, overall, like, I'm not trying to, and like what I mean is, like, I would put up sometimes other stuff that might be a little more risque, jokes or different things like that. And then, you start thinking about what audience, how you want to be perceived. Like, that's what I'm saying for myself too. Like, oh, I put this out there and it might come across this way and people don't really know me. And, think about how many people don't even give a shit about that. They just haphazardly just choo. They post up anything they see and they don't care, how rude they're being and such. As much as, like, I don't mind being rude in certain ways or, pushing buttons. The reason I do it the way I do it is because I really do want to ingratiate everyone, to be together. Do I have, like, a real kind of wicked sense of humor? Like, if you were sitting here talking to me, I was not being polite. It's like, yeah, I could definitely, go down some roads, but, at the end of it all, I just think it's important to be authentic and be yourself. Like, if people, anybody who knows me in real everyday life wouldn't take to heart, certain things that I would say in person, the way that they would be taking to heart if I was to say something like that on social media or online in some type of way, especially when you're typing something, writing something, there's no emotion or inflection heard in the voice, right? There's no, you just see words. So you're just perceiving them the way you're taking it in. Like, you might take it in an angry tone. Maybe it's not being said in an angry tone, but you might see it that way based on the content, So it's all these little things that just, keep everybody divided. And then like I said, everybody's so worried about putting something out to, feel accepted. I'm going to make an example. And I want to make sure I'm real clear, because I never call anybody out or say any names, but I have this one friend that's on Facebook, and I know this person for a long time. And I know this person is not happy with their life. Not say not happy with their life, but, they're not happy, right? Just in general, of like certain aspects of, their life. Let's just leave it at that, so I don't get too deep into anything. But this person will post, pictures of this, that, or the other. Oh, had a great day today with this, and had a great day today with that. And I know this person doesn't mean that, because this person has said to me, and I just think to myself, like, it's so interesting. It's like you have a conversation and you're like being open and honest about aspects of your life that you don't feel line up with your best self purpose, and yet instead of taking responsibility for that truth that you're recognizing within yourself and making changes in your life, you're putting all this on social media of, oh, had a great day with my, whatever, just to say my spouse, right? Had a great day with my spouse, but I already know you don't even like your spouse. It's like, it's so weird. It's like, to me, like, I just don't even understand, like, if you're in that situation, like, why even put, anything up at all, like, why even, like, you're fake. It's like, it's so fake, and that's what a lot of everything on social media is, it's just people trying to be, trying to be something that they're not. And that's the main thing. I'm really big on that, even with the show. I'm always trying to speak from my heart and really be myself. Sometimes it's better. Some shows are better than others. Sometimes I speak better than other times. Sometimes, I'm a little angry and I go off on a thing. Sometimes I'm a little rude. Sometimes I'm just really happy. It's just really me, and I think we should all just really be ourselves. And even with social media, if we're going to use social media, let's stop pretending, right? Let's just be real. Let's be vulnerable. Let's express ourselves. I think too, to speak on vulnerability, everybody wants to always be, I'm strong, I handle, and I feel myself, I'm a strong person. I'll handle anything. I'll always make it through. It's just, I believe in myself. I feel connected to God, to source, and I know everything is fine. Am I going to have my bad days? Yeah. Everybody does. But why not, like, embrace the vulnerabilities and the questions that we have? And, does it leave you in a space sometimes of maybe getting, laughed at or made fun of, or somebody got something to say, some bullshit, somebody got something to say, but who cares, right? Like, who cares? Like if you're being authentic and being yourself and showing vulnerability, not that you have to be like a whiny, I just mean being real, it's just, and you'll always find the people that you need to connect with. Like, the more you live in tune with, really realizing who you are and what you want, and living in line and living in tune with that, the universe will work with you and bring those things into your life that help you proceed in that way. But, if you're doing everything in this, pretending type of way, then you're never going to get anywhere. You're just like, spinning your wheels. You're just treading water in one spot. You're just on a treadmill running 100 miles an hour, but getting nowhere, So it's interesting. And, I definitely think, to round it back to the beginning, kind of, he's like, I'm sorry. I mean, for better or for worse, I definitely believe that, there's powers that be that are running shit, that are purposely working to keep humanity suppressed. I mean, it's really just plain and simple. I don't know how to say it anymore. Like, simpler than that. And I think a lot of people realize that. And I think the biggest problem we have as a humanity is our own fears to break free of what we're so used to, because there's a comfort in what we're used to, right? And I don't even know if people want to take the responsibility sometimes to really be in charge of their lives. We've been so conditioned to live off the teat of the government, as it were, and all this bullshit and media and Hollywood and everything else that, we're afraid to break out of that paradigm, right? Because then you're just like, well, what do we do? What do we do? So, but it'll all come to you. Like, I think if we all give ourselves space to be, then the next steps will present themselves. And just imagine a world that, to me, that's how I see it. It would be 10 times better than what we already have, but everybody's just kind of afraid to let go. And then because of stuff like social media and the way it's designed and the programming of it and the mainstream, this, that, and the other culture, it keeps people kind of pigeonholed into that space. Who's getting bullied online, and everything becomes online, and your social media rating, your online profile, or how many views. Even here at YouTube, how many views, how many this. I got to worry about an algorithm or something that is not going to show what I'm saying because it doesn't fit the needs of the agenda. And it's just like, it's nonsense. And I think we should just be more aware of that type of stuff. And I would never, Listen, it is what it is, and we are where we are with technology. We're not going to go back to, carving words on a rock, to send a letter, to send a message to somebody, but we should use it. Again, I always talk about reverence and responsibility. If we're going to use this type of stuff, we should have a certain level of responsibility, reverence, for it, and, what it means to have it and what it means to use it, and using it without forgetting that, number one, we should be connecting with each other, face to face, locally. We should know our neighbors, we should know our community, we should be working towards those type of ideas instead of being pulled apart and sucked into the phone. I mean, like, if you think about it, think about how many people are around, especially if you live in a city or wherever you live, how many people are all around you and nobody knows anybody. Everybody's just boom, locked into this world that doesn't even really exist, right? So I say just, of course, people are going to use it. I'm not calling for the banning of everything, but really to be mindful. And if you have kids out there, really teach them the other ways first. Teach them how important it is to communicate and have family time and things like this first. Let's bring the families back together. Like I say, and I know I went on a lot of tangents. Of how they tear people apart, with all these movements. I know I mentioned the women's lib, but even aside from that, everything with racism, a lot of people don't even realize, the Democratic Party are the ones that created, the Ku Klux Klan and stuff, so and they do that on purpose so they can create an agenda of racism so that they can, start making policies and programs to implement, to have more control over people, and then it keeps people more divided, like even stuff like affirmative action and all, of course everybody, and again, to me, everyone deserves an equal chance from the beginning, so you shouldn't even need this type of stuff, but, for general population that's not seeing things that way and falling for the trap of what's being done, they create that type of stuff. And then, of course, it's going to cause divide. Oh, I couldn't get a job because they had to give it to this person because they had to fill their quota of this many type of people, So, that causes more divide. And they do these little things little by little by little just to break down the foundation of humanity. We, at heart, no human looks at each other, and I guess I was speaking from my perspective, but I really believe this. No human at their heart is looking at someone as their enemy off the start. No one's looking at somebody with a different color skin or a different ethnic or religious background and thinking they're less than. I don't think anybody's looking to do that. You know what I mean? I think people are, genuinely want to connect. I know myself, I love meeting people from all different facets of life, because it's interesting to me well, your background is this and you came from this country. And I mean, that's, we all learn from each other, but instead, they want us divided and separated. And then now on top of that, not only are we divided and separated, they've done a great job. Now we're all plugged in to the phone 24/7, which gives us even less opportunity to really connect with people and get to know people in their hearts. Instead, we just get to know algorithms and programs and whatever nonsense that they're putting forth as their agenda, through these apps and such, right? Because it's under control. They're not. It's not equal information open. It's especially look what's going on with Israel and everything. I mean, this whole anti-Semitism and then the Palestinians. I mean, just think about the level of divide that they create. They create. They're the ones that go in and first of all, whoever keeps these Palestinian people locked up in that area for years and years and years, and then they create let's do it's a terrorist attack and we'll go in and kill some Israelis and cause more divide. So of course there's going to be upheaval. It's just crazy, and it's all programmed, done on purpose, meant to keep people separate. There's horrible things going on in the world. I'm not making light of anything like that. There's evil out there for sure, but we can make the difference. We are the creators, and if we can just get our heads together a little bit and unplug just enough, to connect with each other, one becomes two becomes three, and before you know it, you're building a community of people that really genuinely care and are just doing good things, and that good energy goes out and it creates more. So I mean, we have to get back to basics and into the moment and with each other, and not just always plugged into all this stuff and trying to prove ourselves or hope that somebody will click like on something so that we feel good about ourselves, right? So anyway, that's what I got for you here today on social media. This is YouTube, so it is social media. That's what I got for you today on social media. Oh my gosh. But that's what I got for you today on Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen. I really love people out there. I mean, I'm really, I'm not over speaking. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm not trying to be anything more than what I am. I just see so many people. I mean, I go through, I know so many people, like, a long time, and I see what they post, and I know they're just like, sad inside or weak inside or insecure inside, and they're just trying to get, attention. And, I guess I could say that about me in certain ways. I'm doing the show. Am I trying to just get attention? I don't really think so, quite honestly. This has always been my personality since I was a kid. I like to talk. I like to perform. So I'm doing it because it resonates with me, not because I'm trying to prove anything. This isn't monetized. You know what I mean? I'm just doing it, right? So we all have to find what's right for us and do what's right for us and live true to our hearts. And you don't have to prove yourself to anybody. It's okay. It's okay. There's nothing to prove. Just really be you, and the people that accept you, great, and the people that don't, F them. I mean, it just is what it is. And there's more. Think about how empowering it is to live a life where you're living, from your heart, where you're really doing what you believe, where even if it means having like less than half a tenth, of the friends or connections that you used to have, but at least the ones that you do have are real, right? So that's how I'd rather have one freaking real person in my life that I know that I can connect with and count on and trust than 30, whatever, however many viewers or, friends on Facebook or anything, because nobody, who's going to be there for you? Who's going to really understand you? So that's what you got to do. That's not what you got to do. That's what that's what I feel is best, to build those connections with your people and build your life from, the basics and, all this other stuff a little bit to the extra, right? Okay. All right. Anyway, that's it. Otherwise, I'll just be going on and on and on and on and on and on like I do. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I love you out there individually as well as a group. You know that, each and every one of you. God bless you out there. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. Have a great day or evening or whenever the hell it is that you're watching this. Until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, Operation Status Quo disengaged.